The Manchester City rebuild starts now, and 3 players have been linked with Manchester City in the last 24 hours from 2 different sources as well, and I'll get onto those players shortly. But before I do, I wanted to talk about these comments that I keep seeing in the comment sections of my videos about the seriousness of this football club. Manchester City, that is, of course. You know, how serious are we? If we sign this player, or if we don't sign this player, if we don't sign that player, then we're not a serious football club. I mean, we are a serious football club. Surely you believe that, yeah? I mean, we were serious enough to win 6 out of the last 7 Premier League titles. We're serious enough to have one of the highest wage bills in the country. We're serious enough to have one of the highest net spends in the country, one of, at least. And we are serious enough to have the highest revenue in the country. We are a very serious football club. We've had one bad transfer window, a massive boo-boo. It was a catastrophe of a transfer window. We rested on our laurels. We've made a mistake. Last summer, huge mistakes happened. I mean, over the course of the years before that, no one was complaining about the club and the seriousness of the football club in those times. And if you were a moron. But I mean, now I can see why you're panicking a little bit. But to question the seriousness of this football club is daft for me. I think it's crazy because clearly, as I've just shown to you and highlighted to you, the accolades that we've achieved, financial accolades, we are serious. We spend a lot of money at this football club, and the plan is to do the same this January. So the rebuild starts now. You know, but it takes 2 to tango, you know, because there could be a situation where Manchester City enter into these negotiations and try to acquire these players that everyone wants us to try and acquire, but we don't. If we put in 50 million, no, they say. The 60 million, how would you accept that? No. What if this club keeps saying no? 70 million, no. 80 million, no. 90 million, no. What do you want to keep going? Keep going until it gets, 120? For a player that's worth 70 million, you want to start paying double that, do you? Because we're in panic stations. Hit the panic button. Spend double on what we should do for a market value player, you know? And then when we get, worst case scenario is obviously going out of business. The likeliness of that is pretty slim, but the chances of getting docked points when you start overpaying for players goes up quite a bit. And when we start getting docked 6 points mid-season or docked 9 points mid-season, you'll be complaining then, won't you? And saying the seriousness of this football club. And where is it? You know, you'll be complaining then, and the mismanagement of this football club. You can't have it 2 ways, because it takes 2 to tango in every deal. If they keep saying no, they're going to say no. Because some of the players that we're being linked with have a higher chance of winning silverware this season than Manchester City than they would do if they joined Manchester City. So you got to think about the logic of these players joining Manchester City, waving your wand and saying you are now a Manchester City player. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You've got to be patient. You've got to understand that there's every chance these football clubs could just say no. Pull up the drawbridge, slam the door shut, say, see you later. No, I'll see you in summer. We'll speak in summer. Could be a lot of what the eventual circumstances becomes in these deals. Let's have a look at the actual players that we're being linked with, though, because I still, even though the chances are slim for some of these players of actually acquiring them, I think the fact that Manchester City are being linked with them is exciting. The first player, Omar Marmoush, Martin Blackburn. Of the Sun, who's got a bit of a mixed hit rate in terms of getting things right and getting things wrong. More often than not, he gets things right, but still not the most perfect source you could go to, but still reasonable. 25 years old, contract expires in 2027, does Omar Marmoush. In May 2024, he had a market value of 22 million euros. That resulted in the following summer, last summer, of course, seeing Nottingham Forest bid twice, going up to £28 million for Omar Marmoush. And you want to talk about being a serious football club, £28 million for Omar Marmoush. Don't talk to me about serious. Don't talk because right now his market value is 60 million euros. So that's the bare minimum we're going to have to spend to acquire a player like Omar Marmoush in the middle of a season where Eintracht Frankfurt are 3rd in the Bundesliga, very unlikely to actually win the title. I think they're 9 points behind Bayern Munich, who are top of the Bundesliga, but they are 5th in the Europa League table as well, and they have a legitimate chance of winning that. You know, so they are closer to silverware, Eintracht Frankfurt, than Manchester City are to silverware in their respective competitions. So again, I'm thinking, if you're Omar Marmoush, I'd say, well, I'll see you in summer. And then we'll start the rebuild. Because right now, I could win a Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. You never know. We could persuade him because it's an opportunity of a lifetime to come to the Premier League. Point 1, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, you know, big pull factor, regardless of the silverware that's up for grabs right now. Long-term silverware could be even bigger. You could be talking Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, you know, things like that. So it's hard to say that January is ruled out for every player of that level, of that caliber, but still, you've got to be realistic about that. Of course, there's the problem in 2025, December, next December in 2025. There's the AFCON as well, the African Cup of Nations we have to worry about. Mo Salah as well, he'll be saying goodbye to Liverpool. And if we were to sign Omar Marmoush, we'd be saying goodbye to him, joining up with Mo Salah in the Egyptian squad. So that's a small concern. But I think he's a fantastic player. The numbers speak for themselves this season. He's already scored more than he did do in the entire of last season. Has done Omar Marmoush with 24 appearances, 18 goals, 12 assists. Yeah. I mean, he can play across the front line as well, so he's got that versatility. Similar to Alvarez, he's got a more natural ability to go out wide than Alvarez, even though we saw Julian Alvarez actually play out wide. We played him on the left wing a couple of times last season. Whereas I think Omar Marmoush has a bit more natural versatility compared to Alvarez, who felt a little bit forced. He feels like a number 9, maybe a number 10. Anything outside of that felt a little bit square peg in a round hole sort of situation, whereas Omar Marmoush he does seem naturally versatile. And the goals and assists, 30 goal involvements in 24 appearances so far this season, ridiculous, absolutely sensational. I mean, what we have to pay, I think you're looking at 80, 90 really to acquire a player like this. His contract expires in 2027, so you could probably get it closer to 80, but still, what a player. The second player, also the source coming from Martin Blackburn of the Sun, Ederson. We've all heard this one before. This is not the first time we're hearing Ederson. I am a big fan of Ederson from Atalanta. He's a sensational player. Brazilian, contract expires in 2027. I mean, the numbers are not going to speak great, in terms of, because that's his position. That's his position. 25 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist to his name. But I'm a big fan of him. I really am. I think the same problem applies, even more so from a chance of winning silverware this season. Atalanta, top of Serie A. I think they're 2 points ahead or 1 point ahead of Inter Milan, who are in third, but they have a game in hand. So it looks like Inter Milan, if they win their game in hand, would go top of Serie A. But still, there's a very realistic chance that Atalanta could win the Serie A for the first time in their history. So why would you want to leave Atalanta when you could become and cement your place in the Atalanta history books? I'm not sure he'll want to do that. It could be an opportunity of a lifetime again. That, like I said, the pull factor of Pep, City, the Premier League, it's a big pull factor, but I love him. As an alternative to Bruno G, I'd still probably prefer Bruno G over Ederson, but it's not a bad second player to have as an understudy, as a second plan, a plan B for this type of player that we need. He's an upgrade on everything we have except Rodri. In terms of Rodri, there's no one better than Rodri, but he is definitely better than everything we've got in that position right now for Manchester City. I do keep hearing the terms, he's not good on the ball. What does that mean? He's not good on the ball. He's a football player. He's playing in centre. He's not a goalkeeper. He plays in centre midfield for Atalanta. Champions League challenging, Serie A challenging, top of Serie A. Atalanta. He plays in the middle of their midfield and he's not good on the ball. Come on. He is very good on the ball. He's a sensational player, an enforcer. Yes, he's probably got more defensive attributes than attacking attributes, but still, this guy's a baller, mate. I mean, we all knew about Fernandinho once he donned that Manchester City shirt, but no one really knew much about him before he did that. Whereas Ederson, I think he could follow the same footsteps as Fernandinho. Coming in as a middle-aged, in terms of a football player's career, 25, you're pretty much right bang in the middle of your career at that point. And I think he could join Manchester City with plenty of years ahead of him and be a sensational signing for Manchester City. I really believe that. The third player, Fabrizio Romano exclusive. So we've stepped away from the Martin Blackburn source and gone on to a little bit more of a legitimate source in terms of getting right from wrong. He gets it mostly right, does Fabrizio Romano, and this was an exclusive. A player I know absolutely nothing about, in all honesty. Abdukodir Khusanov. Uzbekistan is from. First thing I thought was, has there ever been an Uzbek playing in the Premier League before? I'm not sure there has. I can't think could he be the first ever Uzbek to play in the Premier League? I'm not sure he is. So great news for Uzbekistan to have a player representing in the Premier League. That'd be amazing. But yeah, he's 20 years old, a centre-back, right-footed. He has played in defensive midfield. So when you hear Manchester City signing a centre-back, the first question that comes into mind is, what else can they do? Because that's Pep's requirements now, is what other roles can they do? Because an out-and-out centre-back, we've only really got one of those, and that's Ruben Diaz. In terms of Akanji, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Gvardiol, they can all do different positions in that defensive back line. There's only Ruben Diaz, who is the fixed centre-back, who cannot play right centre-back in terms of a back three. He can't play full-back, obviously, whereas Akanji, Ake, Gvardiol, John Stones, they can all push into midfield, play as full-backs. You know, even Kyle Walker, who's a full-back, can push into the centre-back position as well. That's the first question. He has played defensive midfield already this season as Khusanov for RC Lens. That's where we'll be signing him from the French league. He's got a market value of €12 million. I've only gone on to YouTube, like you all have as well, and had a look at him. I'm impressed, to be honest, but it's the standard of opposition he's going up against that you start to question, could he do it in the Premier League? That logic's applied to every single transfer we ever go for when it's outside of our sacred Premier League. You know, we always say, can they do it in the Premier League? And I mean, yeah, have to wait and see on that one, but he looks a very promising player. He looks very serious. Looks very serious. So talk about a serious football club. We are signing a very serious looking player for our serious football club here right now. He looks the sort of man who tucks his shirt in, a la Rodri. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what he can bring. 20 years, he's so young as well. So much of a future ahead of him. Looks quick, looks agile, looks good on the ball. You know, he's got an eye for a pass. Saw so many of those long diagonal passes on the money as well. Defense splitting, long range passes. Looked good. Looked really good. But again, we're going off YouTube clips. But it's exciting. 3 players in 24 hours Manchester City have been linked with. 2 are new, to be fair. 1, Ederson, we've been linked with for nearly over a year now. But Omar Marmoush is a recent connection. And of course, Khusanov is a new connection as well as of the last 24 hours. A surprise package, which is exciting. I will be doing a watch long tomorrow for the West Ham game. Come and join me for that. If you want to check out what you're going to get in the watch longs for Typical City and you've never tuned into a watch long before, check out this video above. You can have a look and see what the best bits of 2024 from all the watch longs and other little videos I did throughout the season as well. So come and check that out. Come and check me for the watch long as well. Join me for that one. It's going to be exciting. And let me know your thoughts on these 3 players that I've been linked with as well. And who would you go for the January transfer for Manchester City? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.